Welcome to friendversepodcast. This is Wandia.
And this is Shiko.
Right. Hey everyone. I hope everyone is alive and kicking.
I mean,
if
guess
you're listening,
wait, if they're listening to this one, dear,
they might have been sent back through an apparition. So they're like, wow, I must listen to friendverse
It is important. It is important to listen.
Yeah, identify the important things.
Sawa, Aish, please excuse me.
Anyway, before we continue having too much fun, Shika with a quote.
Yes. Okay. So this is from Lisa Oliveira. On Instagram, she's Lisa Oliveira Therapy.
A fave.
I really enjoy following her and shout out to Olivia because she's the one who introduced me to her.
I did.
So anyway, so let me say what I want to read. The most loving thing you could possibly do for this world is to take deep, intentional care of you, which also means looking at what's hard, getting curious about what feels shameful, and holding space for what hurts. It's the only way we can continue showing up for others in a meaningful way. It's the only way we can find self-acceptance in who we are. Mm-hmm. It's the only way we can learn to embody our worth and our gifts. It's the only way we can develop the emotional bandwidth to explore the harder stuff. It's the only way we can fully, wholly live.
Wow.
I know, right?
It's so conclusive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm always like, every time I read something like that, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense. Application otherwise.
There we go.
Application is the problem. Like, we know these things. We know that caring for ourselves is important.
Yeah.
But then what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can tell, our topic today is self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that quote, it's so wholesome. It just didn't tell me to go have a bubble bath.
Yeah.
So, like, it's challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, what does self-care look like for you, Shiko?
Well, it looks like many things.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like compassion.
Yep.
Like I am compassionate with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I am aware. Actually, before even compassion, I feel awareness is like the first step, like you to know yourself. So I need to be aware. I need to have compassion. Compassion.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
compassion for myself. I need to step away, but also at other times I need to know when to step in, when to say no to myself, when to say yes.
Yeah.
So it involves a lot of things that embody who I am and caring for my spirit and caring for my body and caring for my mind and all those things wholesomely.
Yeah, it's like your health, which is mentally, spiritually, physically, and
financially.
Wow, okay. But I mean, it's important to be fair, yes.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Mentally, is it socially?
Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
Anyway,
but I don't
that's the
know
whole
for real.
From your physical body to your mental body to even like knowledge-wise, you're taking care of yourself and giving yourself what you need. Not always what you want, but
and that's
what
the
you
thing.
need.
And that's what I was saying no to yourself and also knowing when to say yes. And, it's not only about saying no. It's also about saying
Mad
yes.
thing. Hey.
Kabsa.
Telling yourself no. It's so easy to tell someone no.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I after our other episode and saying no, I'm like, wow, no. No. You, no. No. But yourself, you're like, but I want it.
But by the way, Wanzia, did you tell someone you love them? Now that I've remembered the previous episode.
To be honest, I don't find it hard to tell people I love them.
Yeah, but the
that
homework
was...
Day. No, the homework was the day you listen to
day.
this episode, tell someone that you regularly don't tell that you love them. But as in someone you don't regularly tell, but that you love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That
So
I don't
did you-
regularly love them. I
Tell
mean
them,
that usually I don't. Actually, all the people I love, I think I usually tell them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Miss Nanga, I don't have that challenge.
I know.
So like immediately I feel it, I'll just say it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
to be
me, I
honest,
have a
like
serious
it's a
complex
moment
about
where I'm
that.
like, it will be a moment where I'll be like, damn, you're just my size.
Mm.
Where you're like my size, you know. So I'm just like, yeah. Usually by then it happens on Monday morning when you're just thinking, damn, I'm lucky. Because usually I'm like, shit, Monday is back to work, and I'm just like, ew. So sometimes I find myself going through my Google photos, then I see, I'm like, wow, maybe go tell someone you love them. Yeah. So also, I don't have many people who are that close to me. So those ones, I think everyone who's actually close to me knows that.
It's not about them knowing. It's about you saying.
Because I say it to
Okay,
them.
Sawa.
Because
Okay,
I say to them.
Let's not lose the plot. Self-care.
Yeah. Self-care. Hey,
yes.
Ruku, we're marking homework.
I know. Yeah.
But someone who I don't regularly tell, then if I don't regularly tell you, then...
No, sometimes we take these things for granted. I can't.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, so I can't say I tell everyone that I love them all the time. I don't tell you one dear. I don't know why you're acting like you tell me all the time that you love me.
I feel like I will say it. Hey, like I will be... Because I remember this time we were busy just chatting randomly. Then I'm like, wow, we have such amazing conversations. Okay, I love you. Like, as in... Najua ulikuwa umesahau, but I remember.
Even you have remembered.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So it's like something will happen and be like, damn, I love the way we do what we do in this friendship. So I'm like, yeah.
Okay, sawa. Now, to go back to self-care. So, of course, I mean, I don't think you at this point, people don't know what self-care is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we can't act like it's a new phenomenon. I mean, it's a thing that exists in psychology. So, but do we practice it? You know what I'm saying?
And how are we practicing it?
Exactly.
So, like right now, that's why I was even saying bubble baths. Like that quote didn't make me feel like I would need to go and take a bubble bath in the name of self-care.
Although I feel it is a way to practice self-care.
It is. But I feel like that type of marketing has been there because of capitalism.
Of course.
They're like, okay, how are we gonna get money from this new phenomenon of taking care of yourself?
Yes.
So you're gonna buy bath bombs, you're gonna take a bath, you're gonna take a trip to the spa and all those things. But also those things are nice, but it's not the complete self-care. It's like you've only touched the surface.
Exactly.
It's really nice to go and get a massage and everything, but also thinking about it, maybe not everyone would be able to do that.
Exactly.
So how exactly is our definition of self-care being as conclusive, where it's touching on all the aspects, as we said, mentally, physically, spiritually, all these aspects are being covered in what we believe is self-care. And I feel like these days, if you're not careful, you'll just be like, oh, wearing a face mask. Oh, that's what I did on Sunday, and that was my self-care.
That is now, you have hit the nail on the head. Yes. Because self-care is not this one-off things that you do.
Indeed.
It's, in my opinion, and I have read also a couple of psychological definitions, it has to be consistent and continuous. Yes. So the question I think that people need to ask themselves is, like, it sounds so simple. Do you take care of yourself? That is the question to ask because it is there. Do you take care of yourself? Self-care. So what are you doing to take care of yourself? Because if I ask you, Wandia, do you take care of yourself? It's very easy for you to say yes.
Oh, I was thinking about that right now. Then I was like, ooh, I try to.
That is it.
I really try, because it's easy. As you said, it's easy for me. Yeah, I do. Like, it's myself.
Yes. Yeah. But if you actually take time and think about it, then you'll see that there are things that you do that are not about taking care of yourself. It's actually putting yourself in like harm's way. And whatever.
Because they're like, oh, treat yourself. Yeah, I went out and did this. I bought this, and filling ourselves with things. But then when now we look at the mental side, when we look at the spiritual side, how are we making ourselves better? Because also, actually, when I think of self-care, I think of making myself a better person, maintaining my angle of being better for this environment that I am in, enabling myself to make it to the next moment in a healthy way where I'm not causing damage to myself or to others, you know?
Yeah.
I'm being a wholesome contribution to my environment and to my community. Because if I'm not taking care of myself, how can I be a good friend to Shiko? How can I be, let's say I'm an entrepreneur, how am I running a good business? Or if I'm an employee, how am I being the best addition to that organization? So we look at ourselves and how we are plugging ourselves in our environment, in our communities, and self-care, I feel, is what helps us to be wholesome, to be a positive contribution to everything that surrounds us, right? Yeah.
Now that you've said all that, I have a question for you. What's the difference between self-love and self-care?
Self-love, I would say, I feel like, yes, you can see how they can interlink, right?
Yes.
But with self-love is looking at yourself as you exist today in this body, this mind, and saying, you know what? The way you exist now, there's nothing wrong with that. You may feel, exactly. There's the way you exist, the way you present, it's fair. It's fair to yourself to accept that.
Yeah.
You may want to improve, you know, but let it not be coming from a place where you're taking it out on yourself that you're not worthy,
or
that
a negative
point of view. So it's like working towards accepting yourself as you exist today. You know? Hopefully you're not a murderer, you know. But
wow. Okay.
You're not a murderer, you don't do all these nasty things, you know.
Yeah.
But accepting that who you are, regardless of what maybe society has told us, you're not thin enough, you're not as active enough, you're not as light-skinned enough, you're not as tall, or you're not as short, you know, whatever.
Your hair.
Exactly, your hair. Whatever the way you exist, you are okay. You're good.
Yeah.
You are you.
Yeah.
And then self-care is now the process of maintaining that self-love in yourself and making sure that you can be able to now spread that around you. You know, it's like protecting your spirit, building it and cultivating it. That is like self-care to me.
Working on your well-being.
Exactly. You given me the words there. Yeah, so for me, that's the difference.
No, I agree with you because I just wanted to put that distinction out here just in case.
In case there are people who are...
what is the difference here? So I'm with you on that. And I feel like we can't talk about self-care without talking about the quote that ends all quotes from Audre Lorde.
Oh, okay.
You know, so let me read it first for those who are not aware.
Shiko with the quote.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Shiko ama
and but like I purposely did not use this as the quote
intro,
in the the intro quote, because it is the quote that I feel like sometimes is misused, even like to sell things. You know what I'm saying? So basically, when in the cancer journals, when she was taking care of herself, when she was being treated for cancer, she had this journal where she wrote, and so what she wrote was, caring for myself is not self-indulgent. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare.
Yeah,
that is the quote, and I think,
and it's powerful,
and it is powerful. And she was coming from a point of view of being a woman, being a black woman, and how black women are treated by doctors. You know, it has like the nuance behind it. I get the power that the quote has, but the backstory, I feel, is also important as we think about that particular quote, right? But also now I have to ask you, as women, you know, we have this thing of caring for everyone else before us. And this is something that Alex...
Then you're told it, you were born with it. Yes. Then if you don't have it, you're defective.
Yeah, as in... it comes instinctively to women.
Innate.
That's the word, innate. As in for women to care for others.
So can we fight now?
I'm like... part of self-care is putting yourself at the forefront. That's why self is there.
Yeah.
And I feel like even, you know, people will be like, oh, my self-care is cooking for my family. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like,
girl. I mean,
I mean,
sure.
I'm not judging anyone, but I'm like, why do you feel like that is the thing that you need to do?
To feel like you're
caring for yourself. Why?
You're preserving your well-being.
And that's the thing, Wanzia, to add about the face masks and the whatever, is the performative self-care. You know what I'm saying? Because self-care should be an inward thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an inward thing.
Yeah.
Like it's...
So now I'm trying to to feel and think and everything. Is it possible for that to be an act of self-care? Like, I'm now trying to critique that action of cooking for your family.
I know. I think for the both of us, the way we are, it will never be a thing.
Yeah, sure.
Never. But I could see how
for other.
Yes, but I don't know. Someone would have to explain it to me, because from where I'm sitting, it makes no sense.
Yeah, so
but maybe there's a way,
Hopefully, maybe we can, when we put up the episode, we can have a bit of interaction on our IG. We can ask questions and figure out what self-care looks to other people. I mean, to mothers, to husbands even. What self-care looks. If it's inward looking or it's more service. Because to me, that looks like service, or it's my responsibility. Maybe in your household, you've agreed that you're the one who cooks. Or maybe you never cook. So you cooking this one time is okay.
But how is that self-care?
Saying it seems very awkward on my tongue.
Because, one of the definitions I found on our psychology website was practice of taking an active, deliberate role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress.
So maybe now let me think about it. Maybe you're
based on that
working
definition,
mom, and you're never home, and then you're like, oh, let me cook Sunday dinner.
Well, I guess,
anyway, since that is not my experience and my expertise, probably someone from our listenership can tell us also different types of self-care, because to us maybe it looks completely different, maybe because of who we are, what we like, what we do and everything. But I always come back to this idea that, to me, to be honest, at one point I did believe that self-care is just those things that are very physical type of things. So maybe I'll say that I will sleep, I will do a face mask, I will make a body butter that will be great for my skin, like all those things. But then what was missing was that aspect of accountability to the other aspects of my life. And to me, self-care is not complete until there is that aspect of accountability towards this person that I would want to be. And what do I need to get there? So am I actually doing that? Because at the end of the day, you can disappoint yourself. You want to be kinder, you want to be more supportive maybe to your friends, you want to be healthier, and what you're doing every day is going against those things. So do you have accountability to yourself?
And that's important.
So I really love the idea of self-care when I was able to realize that self-care without accountability is basically just a spa day. Because I mean, it was about face masks and washing your hair and such things. That was it. But I think the accountability thing is fundamental in that process. And I think it's also very challenging because to me, it can be really tough because you have to meet yourself. You have to acknowledge that Wandia, at this time you weren't really a nice person because you did this and this to this person. Yet you like to say you're maybe kind, but in that point you weren't kind. And admitting to yourself that you acted badly or you didn't do a good thing or what you should have done in this one time. It's not easy. And then now it goes to the process of, now once you admit, you're like, okay, what can I do to rectify that situation or improve on what happened the last time. And it's not easy. As you're saying, even telling yourself no or telling yourself you need to do this, that it's very hard. Yeah. I don't know, for you guys who follow Crystal, there's this time she was like, her therapist was telling her how you should treat yourself is like raising a child. It's like there's no two ways about it. If you need to do this, you do it. So there's no I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But when you're bringing up a child, it's you've done your homework. You need to do this. You need to eat. You need to shower. When we grow up is when we're like, oh, well, it's ice cream for dinner. It's going to be this.
Yeah.
We are going to skip that meeting. We're going to close, we won't reply to that message. And yet it's not right. It's something that contravenes who we want to be. Because ultimately, when you're saying those things, when you're pushing yourself to act in a certain way or say some things, it's like, as you said, you're hurting yourself. Which episode was that?
Previous one.
And it's when you finally realize that it's easy for you to dish out all the advice and everything. But then when you realize you're not even taking that advice, you're just hurting yourself many times. Woo! It's painful.
Yeah.
So I think it's also, self-care is also minimizing the potential damage that we could be bringing to ourselves.
No, I agree with you. There's a lot of inward looking that we should focus on in self-care and not outward looking. I don't know if I'm making sense. There's the element of all the other things you talked about, the spa day and blah, blah, blah. That is still self-care. I'm there with you 110%. But even when you're doing that face mask and now you're stressed, you're like, I need to distress. So I'll do this face mask. And then what? Because
at the end of the face mask, will still be there. The stress will still be there.
Thank you. So at the end of the face mask, and then what?
Yeah, because sometimes now all the bath bombs and everything seem like it's a distraction from your current.
Actually, it could be. It's sometimes, by the way, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Because what we should be having is more conversations with ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even to attain those levels of compassion that we need towards ourselves, it involves this self-care that is inward looking, that is about talking to yourself and about thinking about these things that you want and these things that you feel, etc.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could look as simple as, let's say, how often, we say it's continuous. Probably I wouldn't be able to practice, to intentionally practice self-care every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. Maybe for some of us, we journal, maybe we meditate. Life happens. So probably it's something that we need to schedule,
Which is
something that we can say that, okay, maybe depending on your work schedule, whatever you do, maybe you're free on Mondays, maybe you're free on Sundays. So I would say being intentional in saying that I'm going to put it in my calendar and I'll be like, during this time on this day, I'm going to set aside like 1 hour to check in with myself, to be like, okay, are you happy? How do you feel? And you ask yourself, how do I feel mentally? Physically, is my body feeling healthy?
You
is
check
it
in
able
with yourself.
to walk?
Yeah.
Or do I just feel like curling up into my bed and just watching Netflix the whole time? Which is not bad, but also during this 1 hour that you set aside intentionally for self-care, how are you checking in with yourself to see that after I come out of this self-care session, I'll have been closer to sorting out some of the challenges I'm facing, or closer to being who I want to be,
Yeah.
So, to be honest, I feel like journaling is such an ace way of doing it. Because you can have a check system. You can say physically, okay, I was having a problem with my back. I don't know, maybe it's because of work. It could be, those is it psychosomatic symptoms?
Yes.
Maybe you're not even physically sick, but your boss is the one who's making you stressed. Some of these things. Like, check in with yourself physically. Even touch your body, touch your arms. You can even do it while you're standing. And actually feel through your body, breathe in and be like, when I fika uko the top, am I feeling like I'm choking? Is there, sometimes
tight pain in your chest?
Exactly. Ama there's a kawaru at the end of your throat. So that means you could be holding back some emotions. Then you'll be like, okay, so I guess emotionally there's something there. What is really making me feel like this? Is it my friend who, when she said this, or when my boyfriend, he did this, or my girlfriend, or it's something at work,
Yeah.
And this has made me remember. You remember we were chatting and then I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I am not okay.
Yeah.
So, and I told you, I think it's work. And then later on I checked and it wasn't work. It was something else that I had kind of pushed to the side. And I was trying to use work.
To ignore it.
Yeah, and it felt like using work was an easy way to explain it. And when I went deeper, I was like, girl, it was not work. It's this other thing that you actually need to deal with ASAP before it becomes a bigger issue.
Exactly.
And that idea of being honest with yourself, being like, you know what, if I'm to be honest with anyone, it had better be myself.
Yes. Yes.
And actually critique yourself. Think about, that pain in your stomach. We usually think we don't know what it is. But then we think we don't know. And yet, if we just sit down and be like, oh yeah, it's that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like we give ourselves excuses because sometimes it takes a lot of courage to deal with that shit.
And that's why bath bombs are easier.
I know. And they smell nice.
Yes.
And firstly, my skin will be popping, but the pain in my stomach will still continue.
Exactly.
And it's wild as hell because then we'll just be like, oh, these people who smell nice and look good and have things, but inside we are just rotting.
I know.
And what a sad way to be,
Yeah.
So back to, having that time to check in with yourself physically, emotionally, and, also look at what your responsibilities are. And, sometimes, as we said, you're busy. Maybe you have one day a week when you can really check in with yourself. But I feel like also maybe...
But if putting yourself at the forefront, that busyness might also... Saying you're busy might just be an excuse.
There we freaking go.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how about the first 10 minutes of your day?
Yeah.
It could even be little things. Even by having a to-do list every day, I feel like it's some form of self-care. Because I don't know how you guys experience your days, but these things that will jump into your schedule where you feel flustered. Maybe you have a full plate and you're like, where will I even start? But imagine if you put a list and then you're able to prioritize which one is urgent and important. These tiny things that will take 5 minutes, but actually they make the clutter in your head or the noise in your head dim down to something that is like manageable.
Agreed.
And at the end of the day, you'll be like, actually, today wasn't such a bad day. Yeah. We're also saying Monday is such a terrible day because
everyone says
exactly
Monday is a terrible day.
Exactly.
But then if you ask someone why is Monday a terrible day, they'll be like, because it's Monday. I'm like, yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it could be very well that you hate Mondays because maybe your job is trash and everything.
That's true.
But sometimes I'm like, Monday, Tuesday, zote ziko.
You're still in the same
job.
You
there.
Still sleep and wake up after.
Exactly. So I don't know, it's how can we minimize the challenges that we have every day that we can become...
Building community. Anyway, continue.
we'll buy Shiko the t-shirt.
I'm telling you.
But I feel like also, you do self-care appropriately.
Yes.
You can be the better person also in your community.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but now I'm also thinking of that thing can self-care also have a community aspect in it?
Yes. Because I feel like also the individualism, there's a way we can perpetuate individualism and self-care, which is what is happening if you think about all the ads and blah, blah, blah. But part of taking care, for example, of your emotional health, if it involves like hanging out with people and you've been putting it off because of you're feeling a type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're not taking care of yourself, because taking care of
Yes.
yourself, like if I know I need to spend time with guys, right? But I have this whole complex about people, they'll hurt me, they blah, blah, blah. They don't have time for me, they're whatever. You see, all that mental chatter, you need to take care of that.
Yeah.
So that you do what you need to do. And that if that involves having other people around you, then that's what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think there is an element, because it's very easy to fall again into the individualism thing if it's all, because you know what I'm always like saying is, I'm not the one who said it, you're actually the one who said it, where people, if their self-care is rooted in ego, then you're not even helping yourself.
True.
Because if it's that one of, you know, I'm not available for you, you know, it's a form of self-care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, saying no.
Yeah,
and,
you're saying
you
no.
know.
You know what I'm saying? With that ego attached to it,
Yeah.
then really, let's be a bit
True.
more honest with ourselves
True.
to why we are doing these things.
Yeah.
We all know why it's important.
Yeah.
We are way past that conversation. That's a basic ass conversation.
Yes.
Now it's the why.
Yes.
I mean the how, you know, and all
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like honest communication with oneself
Yeah.
is how you do
And with
self-care that
others
will
as well.
that will be beneficial to you.
Yeah. And something else, is self-care is it common for does it look the same for everyone?
Of course not.
And I'm like,
but I think there are some tenets
yeah,
that will be across the board, the board, in terms of like checking in with yourself. In whatever way you do it, it's a thing that you should do.
yes,
So how we are saying journaling, blah blah blah, maybe there are others who can't journal, you know. So, but they can be able to still check in with themselves.
yeah. Well, that's true. Do you think you practice self-care every day, or do you set aside specific time on a particular day to practice self-care?
Okay, so I don't think I do it every day. For sure I don't do it every day. That's number one. Number two, I don't think I'm as intentional as I should be about it.
Yeah.
So there are things I do, but it's not one as thorough as I should make it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I can be stressed about something, and then if I just actually just stop, breathe, write it out, then I get back, and then I'm like, okay, so I was stressed. I shouldn't even have reached that level of stress if I had been doing the work before. You understand what I'm saying? So that thing of being deliberate is what I need to work on, to be honest, because sometimes I'm like, why were you stressed? Because when the moment you stopped and thought and breathed and, you know, just I spoke to myself. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, that was not necessary. Yeah.
That's true. You know, you mentioned that, then I've just remembered the way I'm a serial procrastinator. And then I'm just like, I wait until the last moment. All your 5 deadlines until the last moment. And then that week you're just jumping up, down. Like, I'm literally sick of me. And it's like, I've tried everything.
Have you tried everything?
I feel like I know. Like, I was thinking about this report I was meant to submit. I got it a month in advance. Guess when I'm doing it? 3 days too. Like, whomst will help me? And you know, I think about it every week from that day I got it. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that?
And then you know that
Jesus.
at the point that it's due, it will stress you.
I
but
know.
for now,
Yeah.
let me watch Netflix.
Then it was so, indeed. You're like,
self-care.
missing. Like, wow. Like, I'm actively sabotaging myself.
Yes.
But then what was very interesting, when I finally did it, those 3 days before, I ended up doing it in 2 days. So I even submitted it earlier. Then I was like, wow, imagine if I had done it, you know, and I wasn't using so much mind work to think, oh my God, I just have now 2 weeks. Oh, now it's 1 week. Oh no, it's now 6 days. Oh my God, it's 5 days.
Yeah.
Now, if I had done it in those 2 days previously, I would have been like, oh, so this is how it feels
to do something early.
Because, you know, yes, I will make my deadlines, but then it's usually like a fight before that. Yeah, so I also struggle. I definitely do not practice self-care intentionally every day. Maybe I'll fall off. Maybe this 1 week I will have this 10 minutes before I start my day where I just, close my eyes and think and everything. Or there's this couple of Sundays where I will set aside and I'll, spend like 2 hours writing and, just, in my own world, thinking about what I want to be, like all those things. But then you'll do that maybe once every 2 months.
I know.
So I started putting those journal
prompts.
Or reminders, just a notification that be like, so maybe it will come every day at a certain time. Every day I'll probably not be somewhere where I can do what I need to do.
Yeah, but
then
it's a prompt in your head.
It's a prompt in my head to be like, it will slightly make me check in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't write something, but the days when I write, I feel like I've done something. I've written something, even though it's 2 lines, 3 lines. It's offloading something probably that's happening mentally for me, and I always feel so much better. But even having that notification, even though you're not writing, I think it's a step in the right direction.
I think so. And that's the consistency that we need to build. I mean, I don't have the answers because obviously I'm not doing it. The thing is, I know I need to do it. Right? But I'm not doing it. So it's that creating that consistency is what is important.
And not waiting until it's urgent for you to practice it. Because now I realized I was very good with, you're going through a bad moment, I will write. Woo! Like I will tackle the problem, it will, it will be obliterated. But now the point is to create a system where you are foolproof. You are not going to be, found by something sideways and it will shock you and your body.
Although I don't think everything. You can escape everything.
Yeah, it won't be 100%,
but you'll have
sure.
better
coping mechanisms.
That is the thing.
Ways of dealing with it.
Yeah.
But sometimes something will happen to you and it will just shove you outside the door.
Oh, God.
And this is the point. How we building our ways of dealing with our world. The world when it partners with you, when it finds you, casually walking down the street and then it hits you on the face. Like, how are we gonna deal with that? Are we gonna keep on waiting to be attacked by the elements so that we can practice self-care or so that we can check in with ourselves? So we need to be more intentional. Proactivity around it.
I agree.
That
is a very good point, by the way.
Yes.
So the other thing that you said, and I want to bring back, is how we are going to negotiate in the world. You know what I'm saying? How you see yourself, how you deal with self-worth. I don't know if the word I'm trying to think about is self-worth, but it is self-worth because I feel like how you care for yourself is based on how you see yourself as worthy. Do you deserve this care? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if let's say there's this stress that's coming, that's there, do you see like, I deserve this hell I'm going through? Or is it that one where you prompt yourself like, okay, this thing is happening, I need to work this way, and that's why that's what I'm saying. All these like things,
self-love and self-care could be very close.
They are
close together.
I feel like all these self things, self-awareness, self-compassion, self-love, self-care, they are all intertwined, and I think that we need to work on them wholly, so that when this world, man, it's very it can surprise you, and not in a good way. So we need to work on those things, on self-esteem even, so that when this thing happens, you know yourself and you know what you need to do. So you know yourself, self-awareness, you know what you need to do, self-care, self-compassion.
Maybe that's a point. That one for what can you also believing that you can do certain things that are self-care, because sometimes so now back to that thing for self-love, connected to self-care.
Yeah.
Because, with self-love is also believing in yourself,
Yes.
knowing what your capabilities are,
Yeah.
knowing what you deserve as well.
Yes.
So now maybe elements of self-care, it will be like being more accountable to yourself and seeing yourself as this person, let's say person A, and yet if your self-love is limited, then you can only see yourself as person small a, instead of capital A.
Yeah.
And I guess that could even limit how you're able to provide yourself with accountability mechanisms, because you're just like, I'm not that person and I'll never be that person.
Yes.
So let me just wallow in this
misery.
this small a-ness of mine. I don't deserve to be there, or I can't see myself there. So also I guess it's totally linked with being visionary with what you want to be as yourself. And I'm not just saying be ambitious in your professional life and everything, but also personally, in the forms of the love you deserve, in the forms of, the care you deserve from your communities, or even people who are not part of your community. It depends also with what you're setting out for yourself,
Yes.
And this is totally based on what you think you deserve, what is your worth.
Exactly. Because even as you create boundaries, which is a form of self-care, it's based on what you think you deserve. You know what I'm saying? Because if you feel like you deserve this thing that this person is doing, you don't create a boundary around that. You just let it happen to you. But if you know that I am worthy, you create a boundary. And that is taking care of yourself.
That's that is actually good job.
Thank you. I do
like
try.
That
I
lot.
do try.
I mean, we might be minimizing our capabilities, yet we deserve the world, because I think we deserve the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is how social media perpetuates the wrong idea of what self-care is.
Isn't it just weka'ing hashtag self-care?
God, don't even say. And the worst thing is, it is a legitimate thing that people should be doing. But now, because guys have made it this performative thing, it's losing its meaning. And that's kind of sad, because we should all be practicing it. It's not a woman thing. It's not a, you know what I'm saying? It's everyone. It's a human thing.
To be honest, when now you say it's not a woman thing or anything, I wonder.
No, it's because
it's a gender thing.
It is a gendered thing.
It sounds very female.
It is very gendered, which I get. I get, by the way, because like statistically and realistically and socially, women don't take care of themselves because they are busy taking care of everyone else. So of course, there's that emphasis on women should practice self-care. I am here for that message completely and absolutely. But the way we live our lives, everyone should be taking care of themselves. Maybe even if men practiced self-care, they wouldn't come and unburden themselves on women.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Or you're keeping women around you so that you can offload on them.
Yeah, and then you never improve as a person because you don't take time to practice any of these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you're saying about social media, so it has become very easy to put hashtag self-care and be like, with this ice cream cone self-care. So I mean, social media has exposed us to different can we say influencers or personalities who I will 100% say have inspired me to practice self-care, but it depends on whomst.
I think a big part of it is self-awareness.
Yes.
Because, I mean, sometimes you can look at someone and be like, you know what, this person is just pushing a product and there is no other messaging behind that. And then there are others who, for them, yes, there might be selling, there's the selling of the product, but there's also the belief behind whatever it is that they're selling.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you see, even when we see maybe some influencers who are posting some things, and I wouldn't even say influencers,
just
or
people
who are on IG and then they're saying
or even Twitter
self-care. Yeah, exactly. It's okay to be inspired to do some of these actions or to do better.
Yeah.
But the point is it will look different for you as compared to that other person that is inspiring you.
That is the thing.
You know, they will be the one to nudge you to be like, oh, actually I don't practice self-care. What would self-care look like for me? What can I do so that I can declutter mentally, be better physically, emotionally, all those things, you know?
Yeah.
And let's not copy paste.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what works for one person might not necessarily work for you. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe for one person, they can do something. For example, I don't know what I want to say right now.
Going for a girls' trip.
Yes.
Wherever.
Yeah. So that can work for me, but for someone else, their financial situation is different.
Yeah.
So it might not be. So you might think this is the thing I need.
Yeah.
But it's really just because you've seen someone else do it.
Yeah.
But it might not be the thing that works for you. So to know yourself is my big thing here.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we are being inundated with a lot of messages.
Yeah. I feel like it's even ethics because I mean it's I think irresponsible, and of course there's no influencer handbook. There's no Bible that you'll be told, hey, you've broken the rules. But I feel like when you have a huge following, you have a responsibility to them to behave ethically. And I know some of them are just like, well, I want to secure the bag, I want to do this, I will work with any brand that will able to pay, you know.
Yeah.
But now, like, let's say so I'm pushing this guest house in Lamu. Yes. So this particular guest house in Lamu, and I'm going to go there with a couple of friends and be like, ooh, self-care and everything. But then for other people who are within your network and they cannot go for a girls' trip, what elements of self-care did you practice even when you went on that girls' trip?
And that
did you,
because
you know,
going on the trip is not necessarily the
self-care.
You might just be vacationing. Like not everything needs to mean something.
Yeah.
You know.
So by the time I've put hashtag self-care, what exactly am I presenting to my followers or to people who are interested in my brand? You know?
Yeah.
Am I saying that we took time to, you know, stay in silence? Maybe we did some yoga. Maybe we had a frank conversation between us as friends where maybe some of us are going through this and that's why we were doing this. Like, it's even communication. It's even eating healthy. It's even taking walks and being like, actually we're going to take time to breathe, to switch off our phones, something that now it can be relatable to everyone. And that's what I mean with ethics around it. And as you said, even let's say I'm working on a lotion brand, maybe I don't even use that lotion. Or when you look at the ingredients, it has some terrible ingredients.
Alcohol, the nut.
And I'm like, as in, that's pretty unfair for you as an influencer when you're working on some of these things. Like, where's the
always
ethics?
pad thing.
Exactly.
Oh,
there we
God.
go. Because then you're putting a hashtag on it and you're like, hashtag self-care, we did this and this and this. But there's elements in your idea of self-care that are not really self-care. Yeah. And it all stems from this idea of there's no ethics in what we're doing. And if there's no ethics in self-care, like, what are we doing? If there's
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what, what I keep saying, capitalism is insidious.
It's so
because it's penetrated this space.
Yes, indeed. And I feel like all of us are able to fall victim to it. Let's not
completely.
Forget. But it's up to us to be very keen to also identify it when it's checking into, the way we are doing what we do. I mean, sometimes it's pretty much unavoidable. But I feel like if we're able to resist, that would be, the battle halfway done.
Yeah.
That mentality. Yeah. Yeah, so it would look for like the same for everyone. Use social media to inspire you, Don't copy paste. We're not the same people.
Or looking for validation on social media.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Because that's where you will go very, very, very wrong.
Agreed.
Yes. Yeah, so I think we've covered quite a number of things. I think for me, I'll still insist on the idea of accountability. And that for me will be like my key thing, being accountable to yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. What is the other one? Anyway, yeah, to me, it's being accountable. Yeah. How about for you?
For me, okay, it's kind of in the same wavelength.
Yeah.
It's about being aware about how I feel or how you feel at any given moment, and then prioritizing yourself and caring for yourself.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. How about we give them some homework?
Okay. Like what exactly?
So, how about you guys? I'm gonna give them homework.
Yeah.
I wish you could check on people. Maybe you can ask them later. But how about add, let's say you have one particular day that you practice self-care. I mean, and if you don't, how about introduce
creating,
one?
yeah,
create one. I would say
practice.
At least once a week. You should have some time.
Mm.
Or if you can do it in a block time, how about every day you say before you fall asleep you have 5 minutes to check in with yourself? Or when you wake up, I know for some people in the morning might be a bit hectic with getting to work and every traffic nini, but you could say at either point of the beginning or the end of the day, give yourself 5 minutes. You can even as simply put your 2 fingers on your right, the fingers on your right, you can put them on the wrist of your left and feel your heartbeat. So let your heartbeat kind of guide your process, so that's what's keeping you attentive on checking in with yourself. Ask yourself like, am I happy? What didn't go well today? What went well today? How do I feel physically? And then try and take a deep breath and just as the breath goes from your toes to your your hips, your stomach, your chest area, your neck, and then as you expel the breath, feel how it feels as it goes through your body, and be like, okay, I feel like my thigh is a bit tight, my what, and then from there you can grow from it, whether it will mean you standing up and doing a stretch. It depends on how you're feeling, but check in with 5 minutes every day and ask yourself those few questions and see how it goes. You may not be able to do it every day. Maybe start with twice a week, 3 times a week, or for those people who are perfect, you can do it every day. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll check in the next time.
Yeah. Let us know how it goes. Our email and our social handles will be in the show notes. Yeah.
Indeedy. Yeah. So what are you guys listening to? Sorry, Shiko, what are you listening to? Wow. It's like I feel like you guys are just with us here recording.
So I am listening to Tellerman. Do you know Tellerman? He's South African.
Yeah, I think I've heard him on a song.
Yeah, with the Shekinah and Nasty C.
Then the good thing is sometimes they say Tellerman, like they say their names.
They say their names in their song.
Yeah.
So Tellerman, I don't know if it's called Whipped.
Yeah.
It's, the song I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's so beautiful and colorful, and oh my God, I really, really enjoy that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm listening to this playlist that Ricky Suede shared, and Ricky Suede is busy.
I saw it.
Yeah. So it's like a collection of very wavy type of. It's like chill vibes ish type of songs.
Give me an example.
Like you wouldn't know. Like,
I don't need to know.
Like this HNNY. Then it's like it's like soft beats. And it's, I just feel cool, and it's like it creates how can I say, it creates a feeling in me of relaxation, wind in the hair, like Sunday relaxation, such things. So it's a very chill, not really chill hop, but chill vibes ish type of songs.
Okay.
So yeah, I've even discovered some pretty cool artists from there. So now it's those ones for you listen until song 3, then you're like, "Ooh, this guy is really, really, dope." So now you go to their profile and play all their music. Then you're like, "Whoa, yes, new playlist in creation of this new artist that I found." So it's I like listening to such playlists where you discover so many yummy gems. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing this week.
Okay.
Yeah, nimerelax. I'm not listening to Ghana this week. Sijasumbua masikio sana.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's it from us. We finna catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
This podcast episode is recorded with the assistance of Courier. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts.